Well, I can give you two visions. One is more like maybe more disseminated, like smart cities is using technologies to make the city's operations more efficient, right? But the way that we see it, smart cities is where everything that you do is to create a better environment for people who lives there. And maybe that's too broad, but there's a lot of efficiencies you can create in municipal operations that really don't translate into any benefit to the residents. That's how I see. So the key is to find where that technology is going to create. It's going to create like value added, right, to what you do. I give an example. At some point I was working as a city planner for a municipality outside Edmonton. It's St. Albert, like north, and we were the first that. We were part of a task force actually from various departments to create terms of reference for smart cities in St. Albert. So we kind of create the framework, and then from there, council adopted the terms of reference, and that kind of spanned through a lot of incentives and initiatives to implement the plan. But what we had to do to create the terms of reference is to explore other cities and say, what are other cities doing? And what is this whole thing about smart cities? Because nobody knew that. That was like 6 years ago. And so we kind of researched like several case studies in Asia, and that like it's amazing what you can do if you have the means and you have the technology at your disposal. But at the end of the day, the cases that inform what we brought up to council is actually what was the end result, right? Like what arrived from that experience, that new technology, in terms of not just efficiency to the city. Like it is. Don't get me wrong. Being efficient it's important. Like taxpayer money it's your money, right? That's like government doesn't have any money. It's your money, so they have to spend wisely, and so we understand that part. Like we don't just discredit that, but at the end of the day, spending well, it's not just reducing cost, it's spending in value added things. So that's where I think it's important.
No, thank you for share that with us, because at some point we have to define together what smart cities are, and how we can get benefits out of that, right? So no, that's a good point. I think my next question will be, as everybody knows, like the most popular certification is LEED, right? So how LEED is helping you in order to take important decisions in urban planning? Is something that you take as some of the principles from there, or do you have like some other type of certification that helps you to kind of take decisions on your urban planning process?
I think LEED is important, and it kind of create a buzz in the industry when it came out. And then there are other kind of certification that you can seek to explain that expand your sustainable goals, right? There is a neighborhood certification that we used a few years ago, and now it has changed. But the principles that you see in LEED are no different from other principles that you see in general as best practice. I think the merits of seeking a certification is that it's organized in a way that it's easy to understand, right? So you follow this principle, this is the outcome, and this is what the benefit is. So it's very well organized in a way that clearly show the path to why this is important, how you do it, what do you want to achieve, and what is the benefit. So in that part, I think many of those certifications are important. Now, would I prefer one over another? Like, I wouldn't say that I have a preferred one, but I do recognize that LEED has kind of a very strong brand and recognition in the market. And if they have that, it's because they have done something right? So we don't discredit using LEED if you have to. The building code in Alberta is very strong now. So at some point we were doing like rezoning applications for direct control, which is something very special, unique. So we would include in that application a requirement to have a LEED certification. At least a silver certification for some buildings. Today, we don't have to do anymore. Why? Because the new building code in Alberta, recognize some of the best practice and principles that were embedded in certifications like LEED. They're very important. So we don't have to do that anymore because we were able to achieve similar outcomes.
No, that's really important, right? Because I think what makes the code or the LEED certification is basically define a baseline, right? Where you can define, okay, from this line up, and that is in order to foresee the avoidance of certain issues down the road, right? So at least now that you are sharing that with us, is like, okay, well, the code is meeting those regulations and even better. So it's like, okay, well, we are thinking that we are in the good path on that, right? So that's good as well.
Yeah. I if I could just give you one example, I worked on urban design plan a few years, actually, it's almost like 10 years ago now. It's called the Quarters, which is the east side of downtown in Edmonton, and it's a neighborhood that really needs some kind of a revitalization efforts. So at that time, we work with a LEED expert to implement a zoning that would give more development rights for whoever would implement certain sustainable principles in the design. They were very close to LEED, but that developer wouldn't have to pursue a LEED certification, right? So at that time, people said, well, it's great that you're giving like those credits, but nobody knew how to do it, right? So it was very slow, implemented through several developers trying to build more than the baseline. Fast forward today, they just think it's very easy. Like nobody has like any more concerns about how to like not anybody, but the concerns that have really decreased because now it's a practice in the industry. It's throughout the industry. So they understand why it was done at that time, and they don't see it like a hurdle to achieve what is in the regulations.
Interesting. So, well, in terms of, well, I can remember again back home in Mexico, right? So some developers, the most of the time, were more motivated because it was certain incentives from the government in order to kind of move forward or get certain things. Yeah, more like that, right? Incentives in order to kind of make the developers to kind of just build better, right? Every time. So Do you know that if something similar is happening here in Canada or in Alberta, so that some developers can have benefits through incentives from the government or private sector? Do you know anything about it?
Not that I'm aware of, but this project that I was explaining really pretty much is an incentive framework embedded in the zoning regulations. Right? So I can give an example. Like most of the areas in that neighborhood can have up to 3 stories and a floor area ratio of 3. But if you follow the incentives framework, you can in certain areas you can achieve like 18 stories and have like double the floor area ratio, the FAR. So it is an incentive, and those that want to pursue that route, they have to understand the importance of the certification and understand the system.
Yeah, no, pretty interesting. Next, as a urban planner, and maybe if you can talk as an ambassador of your community, what is the common vision for the industry?
Well, I don't know if I can speak on behalf of the whole industry. There's a lot of like urban planner is too broad. Like there's a lot of type of planners like heritage planners, social planners, right? There's a lot of different streams, and that's why we are very, in a way, we are generalist professions. So we rely on specialists like architects and engineers to implement what we think it's a good vision. But lately, what has got my interest is really to do development, and that's what I find my comfort zone, so to speak, now. And the more that I do, I see that there's so much more that we can do in infield development. Like the city of Edmonton is just in the process of approving the new municipal development plan, and it's a very progressive plan and encouraging growth from 1 million people to 2 million people without changing the boundaries of the city. So there were several reports prepared for that plan, and it is going to be a great plan. But the more that I read about the technical support for that vision, the more you can fall in love with urban planning and infill. That's everything. Like everything is a possibility in Edmonton. We have the resources, have the space to be even greater the city than what we are today without changing our boundaries. So like I told you, I came to Canada and I went to school. I went to Calgary, and I didn't mention that, but I went to Calgary for a long time. I commute Calgary, Edmonton, Calgary. But so I know a lot about this corridor, and I also work in more towns and rural areas. But today I just feel that I have so much to work in Edmonton that I don't have to go outside. It's the possibilities are very broad and unlimited.
No, I think. Thank you for sharing all this. I have like some more questions, but again, as always, time is a constraint. So maybe we can just leave those questions for the next meeting. And I have a couple of questions that is left. One is my signature question, which is pretty specific for you, Marcelo. So whatever you can share with us. What's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
Oh, it's very.
It can be a phrase, it can be a word, it can be like the main purpose of this question is because I know that a lot of new generation are listening these podcasts right now, And this is a little bit of encouragement for everybody, like they're trying to kind of be better every time, right? And trying to understand better best practices. And at some point you can just look as a professional, look at the paths and saying, if I knew this situation a while ago, or maybe that would be strengthen my path pretty easily, right? So what that could be.
When you get off to school when you young and to a certain level of ambition, you want to embrace the world, right? And that's fine. One thing that I learned is that if one thing can go wrong, it will go wrong. So if I knew that earlier, I would just make sure that I approach that problem earlier, and it would just make my life easier. So today, if I identify something that can go wrong, I don't kind of dismiss, or it doesn't go to my B list. I face it right away.
Right. No, I think that is a really good point, right? Sometimes we feel like an issue will not be an issue, and all of a sudden it came like a double or triple of the problem, right? And no, I think that is a really good approach in that regard. So no, thank you for sharing that with us. And yeah, my last question is how can we connect with you and your company?
Well, I used to be a little more active in social media. I still follow. I'm a little bit disengaged, to be frankly, because I see like a lot of bubbles, and I really want to exchange opinions, and sometimes it's hard. But like anybody can find me on social media. It's there. Of course, like in terms of the Green Space Alliances, the website it's easy to find as well, and we are there anytime. Like if we're not physically there, but our minds it's there. So we don't take anything lightly. If somebody comes to us, we try to help as much as we can.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And this is the wrap. So thank you for your time, Marcelo. Thank you for your willing to be part of these crazy ideas to start a conversation, try to about your specific industry, try to kind of share with everybody a little bit of your experience, and hopefully, yeah, we can work together in the future, and hopefully everybody can just find this information valuable and get be better in the industry. Thank you for your time.
No, I really enjoyed that conversation, and I appreciate your time. Like, maybe I gave some long questions, but if you said you have a lot of questions, so maybe we can do this another time, or we can find a way to have all your questions answered. But thank you again. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. And please don't forget to leave me a review on whichever platform that you're using to listen in this podcast. Either good or bad. Remember, Mexicans have thicker skin. You won't hurt my feelings, that's for sure. And better yet, if it has some good criticism, so I can learn from it and improve it, that will be even greater. I understand this hasn't been perfect, but it can be better every time. I recognize your time is valuable. I would like you to enjoy this moment with me as well. Also, if you like what you get from this audio, I will recommend you to be the first to share this info with your friends, so maybe they can get something valuable from it as well. Thanks for listening, and let's meet again soon.